Hello everyone and welcome to Antique and Garden Showcase. Today we are going to take a look at a piece of furniture that's in the room where I often film some of the older videos that I've done. People have asked questions about this piece of furniture, so I thought we would do one better today and we would do an informal appraisal of this piece of furniture too. The benefits of having a piece of our furniture or any personal property appraised is that you get to learn the history of that piece. You also get a monetary value for it, and if you want, you can do a formal appraisal for insurance purposes so that you can have that particular piece protected financially. So today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this piece. We're going to see if it's truly living up to its potential, or if there are things that will bring the value of this piece down, which is a scenario that you often find when you're appraising. One of the main things that you don't want to do is put sentimental value into anything, just because grandma gave you this and said, oh, it's a wonderful piece and so had it and it was worth so much money. You want to take that particular aspect out and you want to look at the piece for what it truly is. So that's what we're going to do today with this piece of furniture that I have in the office. So stay tuned. We're going to tear this piece apart and see what it's really made of. This piece of furniture was bought by my grandparents. It was probably while I was a child. I would say I was younger than 5 years old whenever they got it. They bought it from an antique dealer who lived nearby. And when they got it, honest to goodness, the thing was as black as my front porch urns. It was covered in years and years of varnish and all that crinkly, nasty looking stuff. In fact, they didn't even bring it into the house. They put it out on the covered back porch and left it for quite a while until it could be completely refinished. So we're going to start there. Okay, the piece was completely stripped of all of its color, all of its original staining, all of its original finish. Everything was taken off of it. So from the very beginning, that's something that hurts the value of a piece. If you can leave the original finish or the original staining in a piece, it really increases the overall value because you're keeping it as close to original as you possibly could. The next thing about this piece that we want to talk about is that how would we go about appraising this? It's a difficult thing because you have to find a comparable to it. There is one comparable that I found online, and it was from a 2007 auction. So we're looking at, roughly 14, 15 years ago. So we have to look at furniture value today. From 14 or 15 years ago, the value of late Victorian furniture, where this is going to fall, is probably around 1860s to 1890s, somewhere in there. What happened during the last few years is that the prices of furniture has fallen pretty dramatically. So we're looking at 50 to 60% of the value, I would say, of what it probably achieved in 2007. Sadly so, that's just reality. But first, the comparable shows something interesting about this piece. It shows that it's not complete. This piece was originally a huge etagere, and it had a top portion to it. And I'm going to show you more about that in a little video that I've put together. But first, this picture I've got will show you the entire piece together. It was a stunning piece of furniture. It shows you the complete color of the piece of furniture, what it looked like, if it was all together the way it was supposed to be when it was originally manufactured. The piece was around 9 feet tall, so it wouldn't fit in the standard home today unless you're lucky enough to have 9 or 10 foot ceilings. So nobody knows where that top portion of this piece was at. It was never with it, never around whenever my grandparents bought it. So I'm using this piece in my office now, and it's pretty much just a dish cabinet, and it's a display. It's more of a decorator functional piece. So here's a little bit more about the condition of the piece of furniture, and then we'll talk more about what its value is. The comparable actually sold for $3,700 in 2007. So we'll talk about that more as we move forward. Taking a look at the piece, we can see at the top there, that spot that I'm pointing to is where the top would have been attached to the piece. It's been filled and kind of covered over there. Looking at the front of the piece, you notice that it has been damaged. Somebody actually managed to knock a corner off of that, and they've just smoothed it out flat there. We're going to look at the comparison on the other side. I'm going to take you over there, and you can see that this could be repaired if someone, really skilled could get in there and work on this piece. There's the other part where the post would have been for the top. Looking down at the front, there's a lot of fretwork on the glass, and you can see how there's an oval there on the left side. A portion of that oval is missing, so there's a missing piece of fretwork in that left glass. That could also be repaired by a skilled woodworker as well. And before we go on, that piece on the top we just passed was a Meakin tie press. Someone's going to ask me, I know for sure. But on this door, there's also a piece of molding that's kind of frayed there. It's not all intact on there, but the brass pulls and everything are all in great shape. The carving is still very pretty on this piece. The ribbon motif on the handles, and the handle has a cherub sitting on the top of the brass as well. Kind of have that snake and rope design with flowers, and you can see the brass handle there's in good condition. But overall, as a decorator piece, the piece shows really well. And it's just a piece that when you walk into the room, people are like, wow, what is that? I've never seen anything like it. So let's do a little bit of furniture math on this particular piece. So if the comparable in 2007 sold for $3,700, all right, and we're looking at 50 to 60% of the value today. Let's just go with the 50%. We'll say the piece of furniture would be worth $1,800 to $1,900 if it's sold on the market today, most likely. The piece that I have is missing half of it. So, all right, let's take 50% off of that already. So now we're down to lower than $1,000. We're down to around $900. This piece has damage to it as well. So, we've got a damaged side, we've got missing moldings, we've got damaged moldings down the middle. But we do have a high structural value. It is perfectly intact. It is structurally sound. It does have the original handles and everything to it that are polished and in great shape. The glass is original. So most of the things that are damaged on there could potentially be fixed. The piece has been stripped of all of its original color and whatever else, so that truly diminishes things there. So if I were to appraise this piece, now one of the things you really want to do, if you're going to have a piece appraised, is do not look at the sentimental value of anything. Just because grandma and grandpa had it does not mean it's the grandest thing on the face of the earth as far as value. They may have said, oh, this piece is worth so much money because, so-and-so had this, or it came from a certain antique place or whatever. Go about it with having high hopes, but don't be disappointed as well, because an appraiser is going to look at all the things that I've looked at today, and I'm being completely open about this piece. I'm telling you that it does have damage. It is missing half of it. It has been stripped of its color. There are many factors on that. So take a $3,700 piece original in its form. I'm going to put a value on this of somewhere between $300 and $600, and I'm going to give a range in there because I don't know what this would bring in my market. My market here in Kentucky is not going to pay what a market would pay in Mississippi or up on the East Coast for this. Location, for an antique auction or sale. A piece is only worth really what it's going to bring monetarily. So, having said that, this piece is not for sale. Sentimental value does win out on it. It's a great decorator piece. I like it where it's at. Yes, I know it's damaged, but I can live with that. And right there is where it's going to stay at home. So in conclusion, the things that you want to remember about an appraisal is that you want to be able to learn the history of the piece that you're having appraised. You want to know its monetary value, and you also, if you want a formal appraisal, you need to make sure that you let your appraiser know that so they can do a formal appraisal for insurance purposes, which is a total different thing than a informal appraisal. So glad you came along for the ride today. Thanks again for watching Antique and Garden Showcase, and I look forward to seeing you in another video later this week. Have a good week, everyone. Bye.